I'm Artemis Javanshir.
And I'm Persis Driver.
We are the Fezana Religion Education Committee. This is the fourth in a series of short videos related to the several Gothic concepts, ideas, and beliefs. We hope these short yet powerful conversations become the catalyst to inspire you to dive deeper into understanding Zarathustra's teachings. We are here with Dr. Keki Dadachanji, who has extensive experience in leading Gathas studies discussions and who will lead our discussion today.
All right, Keki. So last time we talked about the second eternal law, the law of consequences. Today, could you help us understand how this law of consequences relates to a question that we often get? The question is, what does Zarathustra say about the afterlife? Could you please talk a little about this and also maybe help clarify whether the Gathas include the idea of an reincarnation?
Many religions give a very detailed vision of what happens after death, what happens in afterlife. Zarathustra does not do that. His intention seems to be primarily to teach us how to best live while still on this earth. However, from some of the verses of the Gathas, we can deduce an outline of Zarathustra's ideas on afterlife. As you suggested, in most religions, the vision of afterlife emerges from the law of consequences, called the law of karma in some other traditions. To remind ourselves, this law simply says that all our choices will have consequences. If what we do, say, or think are harmful to life, their consequences will be painful to us. Since all creatures recoil from pain, these painful consequences prompt us to re-examine our choices and not repeat them in future. This is how all of us evolve and get in harmony, to live in harmony with the law of Asha. This leaves us with one question. What happens if some of the consequences of our choices have not been realized? Some of the debts have not been paid when we die. So in answering that question, one thing is common across all religions. There is some kind of accounting at the end of life. There is some kind of evaluation of what we have done during this lifetime, what we have said, what we have thought. Many religions talk about this through a metaphor. For example, in Hindu tradition, they imagine a cosmic accountant called Chitragupta, who keeps record of all our karma, as they call it, everything we have said, done, or thought, and the consequences and how we handle those consequences. He keeps a record of all that. Zarathustra talks about the soul of a departed one arriving at a bridge, the bridge of judgment that is called Chinvat Paretu. This concept occurs 3 times in the Gathas. In verses 10 and 11 of Ha 46 and verse 13 of Ha 51. So let's look at one of them. Here is verse 11 of Ha 46, in Dinsha Irani's translation. The Karpans and the Kavis have tyrannized over humanity. Their evil actions are destructive of life. Verily, the conscience of such ones shall torment his soul. And when they shall come to the bridge of judgment, their abode for long ages shall be in the house of lies. Chinvat Paretu is a metaphor for the final evaluation. The soul of a person who has made right choices, choices in harmony with Asha, is able to cross the bridge and walk into Garo Deman, the house on the high, or the house of songs, as it is variously translated. On the other hand, the soul of a person who has not realized the consequences of some of his choices, who has not paid some of his debts, fails to cross this bridge and remains in what is called Drujo Deman, the house of untruth or the house of lies. We should understand that Garo Deman and Drujo Deman are not really places in some seventh galaxy somewhere. They are states of consciousness. So these verses leave us with a question. What happens to a person who fails to cross the bridge and remains in Drujo Deman? A single verse in the Gathas, verse 11 of half 49, answers that question. Here is this very crucial verse in Dr. Taraporwala's translation. But among the evil rulers, evil doers, and evil speakers, among evil egos, evil thinkers, and followers of untruth, souls do come back by reason of their dim insight. Truly, they are dwellers in this abode of untruth. This verse has polarized the interpreters ever since people started commenting on the Gathas. Opinions are divided. Some Zoroastrian scholars firmly believe that this verse indicates the doctrine of reincarnation in the Gathas. Irvad Khurshid Dabu of Surat, a long time ago in 1908, published an article in which he expressed a conclusion that this verse definitely suggests reincarnation. Dr. Tarapurwala, in his commentary on his magnum opus, The Divine Songs of Zarathustra, concurs with that conclusion. I once spoke to Dina McIntyre, asking her how she felt about it. And she said she also agrees with this general conclusion. However, Zoroastrian theology does not speak as clearly, as emphatically, and as strongly about the idea of reincarnation as some other traditions do, such as Hinduism, Buddhism, and Jainism. So some scholars disagree with this conclusion. They feel that to subscribe to the idea of reincarnation takes away the urgency of getting to perfection in this very life. And for that reason, they don't accept this conclusion. And so it remains. People have read and reread this verse to see if some definitive conclusion can be derived from it. But that has not happened. It has not happened because that clarity simply does not exist in that verse. It seems like a Rorschach ink blot. Everyone reads in it what they already believe. Before we conclude, it may be worthwhile to talk a little bit about the foundation of this doctrine of reincarnation, because there is so much misunderstanding about that. An example might help. Every day, we get up early in the morning and we start doing some work. We work throughout the day. We reach late hours of the evening, we get tired, we return to bed and fall asleep. We have a long, dreamless sleep through the night. Next day we get up and we resume work where we left off. We change our jacket and we start. With penetrating insight, the great German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer compares this single day to life itself. Every day, Schopenhauer writes, every day is a little life. Every waking and rising, a little birth. Every fresh morning, a little youth. Every going to rest and sleeping, a little death. This is essentially the foundational concept behind reincarnation, where a day is replaced by a lifetime and the night is replaced by death. We do some things in this life and continue in the next, changing our jacket that we call this body. This is how we continue to face the unresolved consequences of our choices. If we did not subscribe to this idea of reincarnation, we would need to speculate on some realms in which we will have to account for our unresolved consequences, our unpaid debts, realms about which we know nothing. Despite disagreement on the subject of reincarnation, there is a consensus that everyone will continue to evolve and everyone will ultimately reach perfection. In Zoroastrianism, the concept of eternal damnation does not exist. In distant future, all of Mazda's creation will have attained perfection, returning to the pristine state in which this creation was conceived originally. This is called Frashokereti. And this, in my understanding, is Zarathustra's vision of afterlife.
Thank you, Keki. That was an illuminating outline on Zarathustra's views on afterlife. Another question we often get is, what are the Amesha Spentas? What is their significance? And how are they represented in the Gathas? Is that a question for next time?
Yes, it's a very important question. We can say right now that Amesha Spenta is not a Gathic term. It's a post-Gathic concept, but it relates to many things that are in the Gathas. So next time we will connect the two and we will elaborate on various Amesha Spentas.
Thank you, Keki.
Thank you, Keki.